When there is a war, it's usually over someone or something. So I would like to know, who are the ones engaged in the war on drugs, and what or who is caught in the middle of this alleged war? Other than one dealer doing business on the streets, and the other deals drugs in a hygienically clean pharmaceutical environment, is there really much of a difference in the two, between street dealers and pharmacists? Are we given the illusion that pharmaceutical drugs come from the good side of the tracks and street drugs come from the wrong side? Possibly, the war is merely a matter of the combatants playing opposing roles. At the end of the day, both sides in the war are in on it, and both make money off of it, just like they do in physical combat wars. Both kinds of drugs can and do kill people, with the exception of marijuana. There's nothing on record of that happening that I know of, unless it was laced with something deadly. In the illegal drug ring, there is a shipper, supplier, a seller, and the buyer. In the legal drug ring, there is the scientist who creates the drug, the pharmacist who peddles it to the doctors who peddle it to the patients. Most that are involved have the intention of getting people hooked so they can make money off of them, thereby making a living off of the downfall of another human being, who is in no doubt a willing participant most of the time if addicted, or because they may feel there is no other recourse, at least when it comes to medicine they are told they need in order to heal. It's true that some people go into the pharmaceutical and medical field with the sincere intent and desire of helping others, and wanting to do just that. But when those that see the truth of what they are caught up in do not get out because of the amount of money that they make, well, it's all part of the business. I cannot say with certainty that there are no pharmaceutical drugs that don't assist 100% in some way without harming us in another way. But I certainly do know that a lot of them do more harm than good in the end, and many of them affect the organs in the body, especially when abused or taken over long periods of time. In some instances, it only takes one time to do major damage. Those that are hooked on drugs, such as Oxycontin or morphine, are not in much of a different boat than those who take opium or crack. Both are seeking that utopian feeling that all is right with the world. The term we use here is chasing the dragon. The majority of prescription drugs temporarily relieve the symptoms and don't always get rid of the problem completely. They just lie dormant or are kept at bay, such as AIDS. Isn't that the same thing for people that take illegal drugs? Don't most take them for a temporary escape from their reality, which may be ugly and painful for them, but when they come down from that high, isn't that reality still there, waiting for them? And please do not misunderstand me and get me wrong. I'm not talking about there's anything wrong with taking AIDS or any other life-sustaining drug. I'm just making a comparison. Okay, so, alright. Where does all the money really go that is collected for cure research? People who think cures would not be intentionally withheld are fooling themselves. Now, the thing about ailments and diseases is that there may be some cures that we will just never know about. Let's have a big guess why. How many people would be out of work if they cured people of every ailment they had? Quite a few scientists, doctors, and the pharmacists. That's why. As well as a lot of tuition money down the drain. There is no money in giving out cures. Once people understand that, they will understand that there is also a possibility cures have been found and are being withheld. It's incredulous to sit and listen over the radio to the list of side effects of some of these pharmaceutical drugs. The lists take up 95% of the commercial at times, and they still don't guarantee they will help you 100%, 50%, 25%. There's just no guarantee. Even suicidal thoughts, hallucinations, and death are mentioned in some of these advertisements as potential side effects. The side effects are sometimes worse than the original condition. Come on, you know I kid you not. We've all heard these kinds of commercials. FDA approved or not does not guarantee it's safe and effective. The following is not said to offend anyone this may apply to, but those who know how I am know that I don't sugarcoat anything. Okay, so that being said, there are impatient people who want a fast solution for something that is not always a medical disorder and could be worked on with diligence and perseverance, as it's just a thing of mind over matter, and in some cases people wanting instant gratification, instant results, and they would rather take a pill to speed things up than put in the challenging work and dedication, such as those who may take diet pills, pills to quit smoking, pills for sexual arousal, pills for combating natural body pains, pills for body enhancement, pills to build body muscle, and pills to regrow hair. The list goes on. Next, we have the hypochondriacs. Some doctors love them the most because it's almost like they want to find something wrong with themselves and get medicine for a medical issue they may not even have. And we have those that get hooked on pharmaceutical drugs and over-the-counter drugs too, which are also dangerous. And they usually treat addicted people with what? All together now, more drugs. Parents often tell their children the dangers of using drugs, yet they themselves may have a medicine chest full of pharmaceutical drugs. Children are smarter than given credit for, and they see this. And sometimes children do as children see. The human body, when given a chance, has the ability to heal some things on its own if given time and proper nutrients. If we run to the doctor for every little thing, they will be glad to prescribe us medicine because they get a cut from the pharmacists who peddle the latest things on the market to them. If we don't take care of our bodies and health with the best things for it, then of course it won't feel well. Not all, but many medical conditions that are not from a physical injury or a birth defect are often just in our minds and sometimes a result of depression we may not know we have. Depression can and does take on physical symptoms in the body at times. And please make note, I did say not all. Drugs for depression or mental illness can be the worst because they can take such drastic changes on the patient that in some cases, if they stop taking them, they might become worse and potentially become a danger to themselves and others. How often do we hear in the media or read a newspaper article about someone went off in the streets or on their family or anything of that nature, harming others or themselves, and they say, oh, it's because that person wasn't on their meds today. So structurally, that medicine has made their minds dependent on that medicine now. Without it, irrational behavior is more than likely going to arise. The pharmaceutical industry has left no one uncovered. It also has its clutches geared toward our children for behavioral problems and hyperactivity. I think in most cases a child is just being a child. And of course, I know there are extremities, but I'm just talking in general right now. Then we have the HPV vaccine that's used on very, very young girls now. Not even our pets are untouched by pharmaceuticals with dangerous side effects. So be careful there what you give your pet. Research that too. There is even a new pill on the market for racists. Wow. It makes them feel more loving and accepting. Now, while I give racist people none of my energy at all, even I don't want to see them put on the pills. If being ignorant, hateful, and immature is the experience they were supposed to have on this planet, well, so be it. It seems to me the same euphoric feeling they say one will receive by the racist pill is also a near mirror response that they say taking ecstasy does. Are we starting to see the legal and illegal drug correlation here, folks? It's in our best interest to live and eat healthy and to nurture our bodies and minds. Anyone who becomes uncomfortable with medical advice or prescriptions should know there are other alternative doctors and natural medicines as well. Organic fruits and vegetables are pretty much the best bet always. But please, you do have a right to question your doctor and ask him or her exactly what it is that they're giving you and what the potential side effects are, and if there are any other organic alternatives. Most times they don't even want to bring that up, or they don't want you to bring it up, but some do, and some will help you with that. Quite a few of you on YouTube are aware I had to have necessary emergency surgery last September when I disappeared for a month or so. It turned out successful, but I also suffered extreme negative side effects from the pain medicine they put me on, and so I had to discontinue using that and find alternative remedies instead. It wasn't easy to handle the unbearable pain from the surgery my own way, but I made it through because I would rather be in control of my actions. I share all of that with you to say this. I tend not to speak on topics I haven't had some sort of experience with. We all probably know of one or many people who have had issues from using prescription drugs. This has solely been my opinion and how I view this topic. This is not medical advice, nor would I tell you to stop taking your medicine. Never do that based on what anyone else says. In fact, it can be dangerous to abruptly stop taking certain prescription drugs without being weaned off of them by a doctor. Just do your own research, and you will find your own facts to guide yourself. I am just telling it as I see it. I am not here to say drugs are good or bad, or to preach to anyone about drugs on either side of the spectrum. It's your body, your life, your choice. I am only pointing out the dangers and also that prescription drugs can be just as lethal as street drugs. There are also many great doctors out there who do care about the people more than the money. And it's not hard to tell when you encounter them. Maybe more will realize one day that people's health should come before getting a kickback from pharmaceuticals. People are used as guinea pigs as a whole for these medicines and new vaccines that come out. So, what's in your medicine cabinet? Please do in-depth research on side effects of any drugs prescribed to you, or your children, and your pets, to determine if the risks are always worth it. If the war on drugs is indeed real, it has double standards and forgot to include a major group of people on their agenda. Pharmacists are drug dealers too. Drugs are yet another thing that are keeping a lot of society trapped in a state of illusion as well as dumbed down. The world needs all of us to be alert and aware as possible, unlike never before. A drug is a drug is a drug is a drug. And a drug dealer is a drug dealer is a drug dealer is a drug dealer. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, it must be a duck. Namaste.
A lot of grass and I popped a couple of pills now. Yeah, but I never touched nothing that break my will. But I've seen a lot of people